Hello and a very warm welcome to this episode of ETStudios, powered by Snowflake, coming to you from ETCIO Annual Goa 2024. I'm your host, Divina Lasson, and on this series, we're thrilled to bring you conversations with India's leading CIOs to get you unique and exclusive industry insights. Today, we're here to discuss traversing journeys from a household brand to a data brand. Without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome very special guests that we have with us today. Vijayant Rai, Managing Director, Snowflake India, and Vrijesh Nagathan, CIDTO Marico Ltd. Gentlemen, welcome to ETStudios. Thank you so much for joining. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here today.
Likewise.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you. And you know, we're here with two absolutely perfect people, really, to take us through the topic of the day, which is traversing journeys from a household brand to a data brand. And we're so keen to get insights from each of you in your very unique perspectives, your very unique vantage points, lots of industry experience here on the table. So let's get right to it. Vrijesh, you know, Marico, of course, is a brand that has several values. Agility, efficiency, but certainly this has been a long journey for you and it's been a process to get there. So could you take us a little bit through the journey as you've seen it and how you've seen the role of technology really enhancing the journey along the way and getting Marico to where you stand today?
Yeah. So, look, the whole point is all about the vision, what Marico has. And true to its vision in terms of, transforming itself. So, we do have a transformation journey. And technology forms the backbone of that entire transformation which is there. So to that extent, you can envisage that every single transaction or every single insight that's derived in organization today has to be largely from a technology which enables the human being to take a decision. So to that extent, it is something where true to the chairman, the board, CEO, etc., there has been a big belief in technology being the transformative catalyst. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. Must get you in on this, Vijayant, because not only would you have a lot to say, of course, about the role of technology in helping organizations, but specifically now moving into the piece on data and how data and data analytics has helped in this transformation across the board. So, what has been your experience so far?
Thanks. Great question, Divina. I think the key thing when we look at data, and if you look at the explosion of data, may it be enterprises, consumer, it's all over. It's all pervasive right now. And the key things we look at, I mean, when you look at especially enterprises, there are probably two, three, fundamentals we'd say which any organization needs to have when you're looking at data. Uh, it's first of all is creating a data strategy, and that's all about breaking data silos which you have, bringing all your data together, etc. The second aspect in that is governance. How do you actually create governance as the data grows within your organization, etc. The second part is about creating a data culture, right? And that's a tough one, honestly, because that's about people, it's about processes, and then how could you sort of get all of that together? It's a long-term thing. And the third part is in the maturity of data is around harnessing the power of your data and then monetizing it as well. And just to sort of elaborate on that point, what we believe is that as you look at data management and data comes together, it creates gravity. So as you get all your data together, it creates gravity. And once that happens, it actually starts pulling applications and even now generative AI, for example, to it, which is probably the best way to securely utilize your data. So two or three things, like I mentioned, one is of course breaking the data silos, governance, looking at the culture aspect of things, and then the third is about the monetization piece of it, which is the highest level where you can actually start getting the maximum out of all the data that enterprises sit upon.
Course. I must ask you this sort of what happens next though, because every organization, of course, you can't talk about growth in an organization without talking about data, Gen AI, and so on. But what's really the future? What's the next step as you see it?
So we believe, it's interesting because, there's a lot of discussion around generative AI and AI has been there for a long time. But what's changed with generative AI is the accessibility of AI. Now it's there in the hands of people. You can, pretty much anybody can utilize generative AI for querying data, getting results and all that. So that's changed on that piece. But again, fundamental to actually harnessing the power of generative AI is going to be the ability to have your data in place. So we believe that there's no AI strategy without a data strategy. So you would need to ensure that there's a solid data foundation data in the right form, so you can then apply generative AI, get the outputs that you're looking for. So we believe that's the future.
Vrijesh, so, sort of carrying on from how you've started off, transformation from the very beginning of Marico's story, of course, has been at the helm of everything that you do. Surely you face many challenges along the way. Surely you, as a business leader too, have had to face a lot of these and adapt your approach, adapt your solutions basis the technology available to you at the time. Can you take us through some of these transformations and some of the big challenges that you faced and how you've tackled them?
So essentially, what happens is once you kind of envisage a certain kind of a transformation, then you would go about setting all the particular building blocks in terms of what everything would kind of achieve and how do you kind of orchestrate each one of them. Now, how do you and business case being built around them, because these are something that will have to deliver tangible value, otherwise it becomes a hobby project, right? So to make sure that you have a robust business case, to make sure that whatever is the particular numeric part of the ROI, whereas the denominator part is very well known what you're going to spend, but what you're going to get out of it, as long as you are able to articulate it with a lot of clarity, that I think is something where you will have to really think hard, make sure that the solution versus the benefits that are to be derived from the solutions really sync up with each other. And once that has been done, how do you also kind of get that particular acceptance towards the transformation? And once having gotten started on it, how do you sustain that momentum by having the right kind of technology expertise, by having the right kind of competence within your own organization? So all these form the particular challenges and the ways by how organizations like ours overcome it.
Absolutely. And each one, of course, must be dealt with in a very specific way with specific solutions. In fact, if we get Snowflake in on this, how have you approached, again, the variety of verticals that every business has and every challenge that businesses face when it comes to their transformation journey? What are some of the key tools and initiatives that you provided to help businesses transform?
I mean, we see, all our customers and their boards talking about how can you harness the data we have. We also believe that the next level, and for all verticals, is not just limiting it to breaking silos and bringing all your data together, but to then start seeing that how can you start doing things like data sharing, both within your organization, with your ecosystem, and data is being looked at as a big ecosystem play. So an ex-organization, Marico, for example, would love to see how they can, share that data with their supply chain and everybody else, for benefits, and likewise for other industries. So we believe data, extended further, can create a whole force multiplier, impact, for the ecosystem.
And so, what does adopting Gen AI, the implications that it has on data, what does that look like in an organization on the scale of Marico? Where are you at today?
So, look, to be very honest, we are very excited about it. But at the same time, I would be honest to say that we are taking baby steps towards it. Uh, the legacy part of data, unfortunately, is something which is still in silos. How do we kind of get all of that organized? And also, in terms of what you would call as the lifetime value of a data. Has the data become redundant? How do you get rid of it? Because you wouldn't want to carry too much of a baggage also, right? So how do you right size the overall construct? How do you then deploy the Gen AI kind of tooling which is there? The precursor to that was, having your general machine learning and data science part of it. So how do you then kind of start extracting value out of that? Is a process, is a journey, and it has to kind of be curated, matured over a period of time. And like I said, it's not an appliance that you get and fit in. It is something where you have to practice the craft to kind of how to get the best out of it. So that is where, relying on building expertise in house, also how to use it, comes handy.
Absolutely. Vijayant, is there sort of a difference when you work with organizations like Marico, who of course have their foot very well in the door when it comes to all sorts of tech adoption? So, say organizations that are sort of in the process of adoption, but organizations that have absolutely no idea whatsoever, to organizations who maybe think they have it all figured out. I'm sure there's a different approach and a different strategy that you have to apply across the board.
Very true, very true, Naveen. So, I mean, that's something, like you said, every organization is in a different level of maturity, some more than the others. It is a journey in every case. You would have, say, SMB organizations or SME organizations who don't have the wherewithal or technical skills internally. But the good thing we're seeing is that tech is now getting more democratized. For somebody like Snowflake, we have a platform, a SaaS-based platform, which makes it extremely easy to consume, to actually get value out of it. So we believe time to value is a key differentiator which a platform like Snowflake brings in, essentially allowing smaller organizations to come in. In fact, I was at a go live of a wealth management company in Mumbai a few days ago, and it was fascinating because these guys actually cater to about 10,000 customers. They built an app, and they essentially are able to dish out PMS or portfolio management services to these customers. And all of that is being done by 3 people. So the deployment was done in-house just by 3 people. They didn't have to take any external help. What that tells us is that today you have technologies which can be consumed so easily. And so organizations of that kind, like you mentioned, who are probably a little early in the journey, don't have that much internal tech strength, they are able to do it that way. But again, to the point Brijesh mentioned in terms of organizations which have a wealth of data, legacy data, and the value of the data, and how do you look at that? It's a very different approach you take to that. So, horses for courses in that case. But the good thing is today you have technologies, at every level which you could actually bring in and utilize.
Absolutely. Vijayant, so again, when you're dealing with your clients, can you encapsulate the value ultimately that the organizations you work with see in data sharing, in collaboration? And of course, no conversation on data can be had without talking about the security piece. So what offering can you give and what solutions do you provide as well on the security aspect?
No, absolutely. I think the couple of big points here. One is you talked about it on the security side. With this whole explosion of data, and it's not going to go away. It's going to become bigger, and those mountains will grow bigger. How do you make sure that it's secure? Both secure from a company perspective, for your partners, for consumers, all that full chain there. So somebody like Snowflake on the data platform, something what we provide as a philosophy, and that's how we're building this platform, is the fact that the data stays in one place, and you actually bring say LLMs, in case you're doing generative AI, to the data versus data going out. And likewise, you bring the application to the platform versus again data going out, because then what that does is reduces the possibility of data breaches, governance issues, etc. So philosophically, I think a key motion which Snowflake has is to make sure that the data stays in one place, and you can then get all of this the other aspects to data, which makes it much more secure. The other key piece which we are very proud of is in terms of the time to value. In terms of businesses, and Brijesh talked about in his initial answer, was we need to show business, or customers need to show value back to business. And what we believe is on the platform, a SaaS platform like Snowflake, with us taking care of all the background stuff, in terms of compute, storage, and all the other elements there, customers are free to do their business. They're able to then concentrate on business outcomes quickly. So that's the other promise of the Snowflake platform in a big way. Generative AI is the other piece. The other bit, we also, what we're doing is customers, and right now we're in that experimenting stage. We're seeing some amount of use cases coming out in the industry in different verticals, but we believe it's probably a year and a half, 2 years, when you actually start seeing the advent of real use cases or the large scale use cases coming out. Right now, a lot of POCs and initial products which we see out there. So there again, what we believe is we have an open source LLM of our own. It's called Arctic, got released a couple of weeks ago. So that's something which is there. But we also support a whole bunch of other open source LLMs which you can bring to the platform, right? So which actually will help customers get a lot of value out of it. But I think core to Snowflake is ensuring that customers get business value from the platform quickly, and that's what we focused on.
Yeah. Wonderful. That's a very promising take and a very promising outlook. As you say, there will be constant evolution in the years to come. We're just sort of at the very nascent stage right now. So thank you for sharing your insights, gentlemen. Been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for being on ET Studios. Thank you. Right, on that note, that's all we have for you on this episode of ET Studios, powered by Snowflake. But do stay tuned for many more in depth conversations coming to you from CIO Annual Goa 2024. Until next time, many thanks for watching.